What's up, YouTube? Today's video is going to be a little bit different. If you were in my live stream earlier today, you know that we're going to be doing music production / music theory Mondays, Tone Master Tuesdays, and Fractal Fridays. So, welcome. This is the first of my series diving into the FM9. I just recently bought the FM9 in a trade, and I still have my Tone Master Pro. A lot of the Fender guys were curious if I'm going to stop making the Tone Master Pro videos or if I'm selling my Tone Master Pro or jumping ship. No. But I love both units so far. This unit just is way more developed, so there's a lot more stuff to offer, and the opportunity came up for me to get one, so I did, and I'm happy with it. So what I'm going to be doing on Fractal Fridays, at least to get started, and then we'll see where your comment sections lead. I got hired to play in a southern rock band here in Columbia, South Carolina. So I need to be building rigs that are going to enable me to support that group, where I can grab the FM9 or I can grab the Tone Master Pro and be ready to rock and roll. The FM9's whole ecosystem isn't completely new to me. I've owned an Axe FX3, and that was kind of the push to get the FM9. Like, I told my wife, I was like, man, I really love the way that this thing sounds, and especially I have a degree in music production, so I'm not afraid of like the screen you're about to see. But you know, I was telling her that my biggest thing with the Octave FX3 is I just feel like it's a studio tool because it's too big for me to bring out a 4U case plus the FC12, the expression pedals. Like, for a local gig, that's just too much gear for me. Especially when I can just grab and grow, you know, the Tone Master Pro. So that's when my buddy reached out. I was like, hey, I need to sell my FM9. You know, I traded a couple of guitars and a couple $100, and worked out. I got it, and so far I enjoy it. So today's rig, I am using it to cover a couple of different artists. We are playing some Stevie Ray Vaughan, some Jimi Hendrix, and some Gary Clark. So this is going to be my preset for those guys. I think I'm probably going to have to do a separate Stevie Ray Vaughan just because he's a little bit more bluesy. But this is definitely Hendrix dialed in. So that'll probably be today's video is, you know, the name of it is something along the lines of Hendrix on the FM9. So the reference song or track that I used to build this is Foxy Lady. But really, that entire Are You Experience album, the rig is pretty similar. It's just the effect pedals may change. But I think this is a pretty good Hendrix vibe. Jumping into it, so basically this is the rig. The way that I'm using scenes is just, I guess, how every other Fractal user has done it. It's just different coming from the Tone Master Pro. But basically, I'm going to start off my... You know, 1 is going to be my basic rhythm, 2 is going to be some lead parts and some Gary Clark sounds, 3 is going to be a lead, and 4 is like, holy shit, this dude is ripping lead, if that makes sense. So 4 is like whenever you turn your volume from like 10 to 11 and you need to just like take it to the next level, that's what that is. So let's start from the beginning. The rhythm sound, again, Foxy Lady. Great, right? So the amp of choice is the Plexi 100, and I have it jumped. I just really, when I heard this, I was like, dude, yeah, this is it. This is the sound. You can even see, like, I haven't even touched the default settings. I just thought it sounded great with everything at noon. I could probably pull out some low end, but to be honest, it's not bad. And I think that's because of the way that I've done the cab section, to be honest. I'm still learning this ecosystem, but my cab section gave me a lot more control than, I don't know, it just gave me a lot of control. So I'll show you, I'm using both Dynacabs, and I'm using the 4x12 1960 TV, which I was reading on the forums. It's basically just an old Marshall, the perfect to blend with this Plexi. So on one, I'm using 2 cabs and I'm blending them together, which is cool that we can do this in one cab block. In the Tone Master Pro, this would be 2 separate cab instances. So maybe that'll be something that the team considers changing in the future. But I liked how I could do this on one screen and I didn't have to worry about jumping around and everything else. But I use the SM57 or the dynamic one, and I have it pretty close to the cap, and it's really, really close. So the idea was I wanted to get really bright tones out of the SM57, and then I wanted to get really warm tones out of the ribbon mic, and then I want to blend them together to give me like a complete sonic picture. And really, whenever you start getting into miking amps in like a studio, a dynamic and a ribbon mic is like peanut butter and jelly. It's just tried and true, sounds really good. So yeah, on here is just the dynamic mic. Notice how bright it is. Super bright. Now in contrast, here is the ribbon mic. I thought about just taking this one by itself, to be perfectly honest, but whenever I blended them in, man, they just sounded so good together. This is just a great Strat rig, let's be honest. Holy smokes, it sounds so good. And that's kind of the thing I've been noticing about this fractal stuff, is like, you don't really have to tweak it a lot. I'm not a high gain amp player unless if I'm playing Tool, so I think that'll be different. A lot of the presets I've been hearing, the low end gets a little flubby, but we're not worried about that in this video. We're building a Hendrix rig. My cuts, I'm just doing a 100 hertz on this, just to keep it bright on the 57, and then I'm cutting at 80 hertz. I didn't really feel the need to cut down. I don't hear too many bright frequencies popping out, but if your ears are different, then just adjust this. On the Toolmaster Pro, I would typically cut down to like 8,500 to 10,000. But with the Marshalls, you know, they got that presence knob for a reason. Let it come in here and just tame it in the amp would be my recommendation. Alright, so next, I'm splitting my reverb and delay. Now, my delays are only cutting on during my lead patches, which we'll get into, but the reverb I'm using is just this large hall. You can see my settings here. Basically, I don't believe in having a lot of reverb on gain amps, to be perfectly honest, because they can just get muddy. And especially in a studio environment, I'd probably even turn this reverb off and then just use my DAW's reverb. But what I do enjoy about this is that, I don't know if we're going to be playing with in-ears or not, but basically, I like having a little bit of reverb on stage just so it's not so high and dry. So you hear, it's there, but it's not overwhelming. It's like just enough to make me feel comfortable if I do have to rock in-ears. So, sweet. Alright, now let me show you the fun patches. So the first one we got is a fuzz face. Again, I'm going to be using this for Gary Clark Jr. stuff and this song. So for Foxy Lady, it'll be the part that, you know, and jumping back into it. And then for the Gary Clark stuff, it just nailed that tone, and especially if I change my pickup position. Sounds really good, you know, it nails that sound. And this drive, this fuzz I'm using is just the Pi Fuzz. I just pulled down the sustain right here, and I kept the tone pretty even. I just like the way everything sounded, to be perfectly honest. Again, out of the box, this thing just sounded amazing. So that's the only thing that's clicking on there. You can use this for really any monophonic sound. I am not really using a drive. Everything is just fuzz pedals, and then I'm stacking fuzzes, and lastly I have a Uni Vibe. But alright, so we'll get into the first lead tone. You'll notice my delay is clicking on, and my delay will change. So in this one, I like the way that the vintage digital sound, but I'll just let you hear them. So this will be after the solo, or right before the solo and during, but I'll probably switch over to 4 for Foxy Lady. Here's reference with just one fuzz pedal. Crazy, right? And then really the last one is, this is for like, I don't know, I live in South Carolina. I feel like the moment I click this on, I'm gonna be like, what the hell is that? And this is 2 fuzz pedals stacked with a Uni Vibe, and dude, this guitar screams, bro. Any Strat, single coil instrument, just listen. I don't know, man. I'm just messing around. But it just sounds so crazy. It makes the guitar just feel like it's on fire. And yeah, that's this rig in a nutshell, you know. I'll show you the settings for it. It's just a classic vibe. I don't think I really changed anything. I just thought, I was like, dang, dude, this sounds crazy off the get-go. Oh yeah, and then I did pull down the drive on this just to kind of tame it a little bit more. But whenever we're on this, it also changes back to digital mono. And that's it. Pretty straightforward, but I think it nails the Hendrix thing. Oh, I forgot to show you one last thing. I am using 2 expression pedals with this rig. So I have the Fender Mission pedal that I use with the Toolmaster Pro that I'm also using with this. And I got the button to work, so you can see I click a button, my wall comes on, and it's just crazy. And then I do have the fractal pedal, EV1. I'm waiting on a TRS cable to come in, but what I think I'm going to use this for is just volume control. So that way I've got floor volume. So that way I got floor volume and I got control on my guitar. But yeah, that's the rig. This is my Hendrix Gary Clark rig for anytime I'm playing single coil guitars. If you want to download this, it is going to be hosted on my Patreon. It's $5 a month. There's over 100 different guitar articles published, and there are now 2 fractal patches published. So if you get access to that, you'll be able to download everything that I make from here on out moving into the future. If you want, I mean, you can just replicate this. I didn't use anything outside of stock impulse responses, so everything should be straightforward for you to get and just follow along with the video. Most of the settings are stock with the exception of the drive pedals and fuzz pedals, but yeah, this thing sounds great, man. Most important thing is just to dial this in to taste. I am not sure what gear loadout I'm going to be using in this group yet, so I don't have things dialed in to each guitar. This is just kind of my template. And that's kind of the way that I work, is I create these templates of sounds that I think I'll need for the gig. And then when I decide which guitar I'm going to use, then I'll go in and actually fine tune it, save it, good to go. And then any last minute adjustments, then I'll just do the day of the gig or something like that. It's not, you know, don't overcomplicate the stuff. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah, so with that in mind, if you're one of my Toolmaster Pro people, I hope this video gives you a different view of the same things we've been looking at for the last year. If you're a new viewer, follow me because now I'm doing the fractal stuff. Every Friday I'll be doing something like this, and as always, if you see me live, I go live typically on Mondays and Fridays, and then sometimes in between. Feel free to pick my brain, man. I love talking about this stuff and really getting this stuff dialed in. I am a music technologist, and pick my brain. I have a degree in music production and in computer science. And with that in mind, I do own a company called the Guitar Artistry Program. So if you're watching this stuff and you want to learn how to actually dive into the fundamentals of sound without getting a college degree, reach out to me. I focus on really artistry development in the modern time. So what that entails is 1, music production, learning how to build a product, but 2, learning how to build your own brand, and 3, how to get paid for exposure versus getting paid in exposure. So if those 3 things sound like something you need help with, please reach out. Everything I do is one-on-one, and it's a ton of fun. I've worked with a bunch of clients so far, and the results, they speak for themselves. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to me at the Guitar Artistry Program on Instagram or Damien Andy, wherever you are. I'm pretty much everywhere. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.